So, good evening. We will just wait another minute just in case anybody else comes on, but I welcome you to the evening. Thank you for taking the time to learn something new, have some self care for yourself on this beautiful spring day. It's still a little windy, but I'll take it. I'll take the beauty that I see all around with the flowers coming. All right, so let's begin. Welcome again to Tips to Cultivate Resilience. My name is Roberta Brown. I'm a registered nurse at Greenwich Hospital. I'm also a licensed massage therapist, a certified yoga teacher, a certified healing touch practitioner and instructor, and I'm also a sound healer. And we will have a moment of peace and calm in just a few moments to bring ourselves into this present moment. I am the integrative medicine coordinator, and I have been at Greenwich Hospital for over 15 years. I'm grateful to be able to do all the things that I love to do. So let's see how we'll move forward with the vision of Greenwich Hospital, the mission, and the values. I'm very proud of these to be a Yale New Haven Health employee. So we've all had our busy day, and it is time now to come into presence. So what do I mean by that? Letting go of everything that you've been doing before this moment and finding a comfortable position in your chair. Or whether you're sitting on the couch or maybe even lying down, whatever position you're in, allow yourself to get still, to settle in and settle down. And just letting go of what you're going to be doing after this, what you were doing earlier, so that you can be fully present right here, right now. And I really enjoy practicing mindfulness because it's a challenge, and it's a challenge with great rewards because there's so much to enjoy in the present moment. And when I allow myself to drop in from the busy mind, I come into the wisdom of the body. The body knows what it needs. So right now, we're going to check in with our body. We're going to notice if there's any sensations that you might feel. Notice the sitting bones, wherever you are planted in the chair. Maybe you notice the thighs, all the way down to your feet. And imagine that you're grounded like roots in a tree that can keep you strong and stable and having that sense of stability. And perhaps bringing that awareness from the earth, that support, that nourishment, giving gratitude for that, feeling like a wave of relaxation coming up the legs, up into the belly, into the back, up into the heart, the ribs, the chest, and just feel an expansion going all the way from the front of the chest, the front body, into the back body. And imagine the support of your spine, supporting you, holding you, feeling strong, but having a soft front so that you can be open and compassionate for yourself. And then feeling that wave of relaxation going up through the throat, down the shoulders, down the arms, relaxing your hands, feeling your palms with sensation, alive with sensation, and then allowing that to go up and out through the top of your head. Relaxing the face, the jaw, the eyes. And when I say going up and out the top of the head, I'm inviting you to connect to something greater than you, greater than I. Collectively, that we're all in this together that we've been hearing throughout this pandemic. We're all connected to something greater. Whether you want to call it the universe, consciousness, is something that we can have strength in and ask for support. So we have support from below, the earth. We have support from above. And we bring those energies into our heart, where we have compassion, kindness, love, gratitude, all of the attributes of our heart. And as you breathe that in, breathe in it in with ease and breathe out with grace. Breathe in with ease and breathe out any tension that you might feel. Just let it go. Coming into this pause, being mindful of the body, the emotions, and if thoughts are taking you away, accept them, let them pass like a cloud, and simply come back to where you are, in the body, present, fully present. And then listen to the sound of the Tibetan singing bowl. As I strike it and hear the soothing sounds, let it wash in, around, and through you. Gently and slowly, I invite you to come back to your body, to your breath, and perhaps allowing a deep, full breath in and a long breath out. And one more deep, full breath in and a letting go on the sigh. Nothing to do, just paying attention, being present, receiving the gifts that you might receive today, whatever it may be, something that may help you as you navigate through life. So again, we're going to talk about tips to cultivate resilience. So what is mental resilience? According to the American Psychology of Society, resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, or threats of significant sources of stress such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. Put simply, it means bouncing back from difficult situations or experiences. How one responds to life's challenges is what determines their resilience. So we all know that we've been going through a challenging couple of years. It's been stressful, but it's also how do we perceive this stress? How is the stress affecting us? And can we choose how we're reacting to it? So that's really important in our moment-to-moment awareness. So why are some individuals more resilient than others? There's genetics that plays an important role in how you respond to stress and trauma. And then our developmental environment. We have an exposure, if we've been exposed to trauma during our childhood, it has been shown to exert long-lasting changes in our central nervous system circuits, contributing to mood disorders, feelings of helplessness, and increased vulnerability to chronic stress during adulthood. So we really want to look at how can we assist ourselves to kind of break this cycle and heal our nervous system. So there's mental resilience training. And some common interventions will include cognitive, behavioral, and mindfulness-based practices. And these have been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, and it enhances our coping skills, and it helps prevent workplace burnout and promote longevity. So who doesn't want to increase our longevity and have a better quality of life? So I really want to stress the importance of how can we build this muscle? How can we bounce back from the stressors? And I just want to mention that I can speak from my own experience that during this pandemic, it has taught me how to develop my self-care, my self-love, and build practices that will help me to deal with my stress in a productive way. Because stress doesn't go away in our life. It really is, how am I going to deal with it? How am I going to help to build that muscle, that resilient muscle? So why is resilience important? It gives people strength needed to process and overcome these hardships. Those lacking resilience get easily overwhelmed and may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Resilient people tap into their strengths and support systems to overcome challenges and work through the problems. So this is really important now because there's so much going on in our life and in the world that we really have to choose what we spend our time focusing on. So here's some positive affirmations. I love my resiliency and adaptability. I am strong, confident, and capable. I take everything one moment at a time. Really, really important. Our brain can only deal with one thing that we can accomplish well at a time. So let's practice that. I am loved, supported, and cared for always. I am doing my best, and my best is always enough. And I really want to underscore that. We're all doing our best, the best that we can as a humanity. What is meant for me will not pass me. I am at peace, and I trust the timing of my life. So I just give you these to practice these positive affirmations when maybe you're noticing that your mind is on a negative track. So I don't know if anybody was able to read this New York Times article on languishing. It never heard this word before, but it's moving from meh. It is this word of meaning not really a feeling of burnout or depression, but to being motivated, to getting to be in the flow, to flourish. So I don't know if anybody ever experienced that during the time of our last 2 years, but a lot of people were saying that they were feeling this. It's a sense of stagnation and emptiness with a loss of zest, a feeling of blah, meh. One person said that their daughter taught them the meaning of meh. They were just waking up and they're feeling not happy. And it was also mentioned on The Simpsons, this feeling of meh. And we want to move towards wholeness. We want to give voice to languishing. We want to name it. And what are we experiencing? You know, what is this feeling that we're having that we quite can't label? Knowing we have words, we have confidence, and it helps us to relate to ourselves and others, and it helps us to continue to grow. So what is the positive side of this? We can have a motivation to move into flow, to be fully engaged in our activities at one moment at a time, doing enjoyable activities with skills that match the task. So instead of doing a 500 word puzzle, let's do a 50 or a 300 piece so that we feel that we can manage it. So when we can fish or we play chess or painting or reading, we can get into this flow where time isn't, we're not even aware of time, and time just is like floating by. So what are some motivation ideas? Carve out uninterrupted time at work. You can do things that gave flow in the past in small increments, maybe exercise, meditation, going for a walk in nature. I love going to the beach or maybe even a walk in the woods, in a garden. And again, doing one task at a time. And this helps us to move from that negative to a positive flow state. Plan things to look forward to. Family reunions, hugging one another, going out to dinner, enjoy observing others in the flow, kids riding at a carnival. Kids are a great example of being in the flow. They really just let their emotions be, and they're in the moment. So I wanted to share Tara Brach. I don't know if anybody's heard of any of her podcasts. She's written many different books. She has a PhD. She's one of the books she has written is Radical Acceptance. And she shares with us about our capacity for loving, the ability to let in love. And I really think this is some important information that she's sharing to allow us to care for ourselves, love ourselves, and she puts it into words that are easy to understand. Sometimes we have a hard time with this because I don't think we've had our words to understand what it is or people to explain how to do it. And we hold on tightly and believe that we're separate. But we really aren't. We have a connection to one another. And I think if we can feel that heart-to-heart connection or a conscious raising connection, that we can feel like we're all together. And that has really been a theme throughout this pandemic. So allowing love in, how do we do this? From a place in us that we want to let it in. Maybe we want to pray or ask to let it in. Please, and we could say, please allow love in. Please may I feel my partner's love. And wish in something bigger. And it's easy to allow love in when our ego isn't there or we're not totally attached to our ego. Love is always loving us. I love that. Love is always loving us. And we need to train ourselves to allow love in. We can't change the past, but we can consciously change this moment. And that's where the mindfulness practice comes in. If we notice at the beginning of this PowerPoint, we mentioned behaviorally. So mindfulness is something we can practice. And we can do that moment to moment. And there's great research on mindfulness meditation, that it changes the neuroplasticity, it changes the neurons, it helps to create new neural pathways. So we really have the power to feel empowered. So Tara talks about being open to gratitude. And so today I'm going to be sharing about gratitude with several different practitioners. And what she talks about is savor. And a lot of different practitioners are talking about how we can savor special moments, how we can receive those breaths. And like we did in the beginning, just savor those moments, savor the good. Allow those moments to be there, allow 10 or 15 seconds to enjoy a flower or a sunrise or a sunset. Have a feeling of being open-heartedness. Pause with that connectedness. So when you're feeling that with someone, savor that. When you're on the same wavelength or you're sharing a special moment, have that moment of that we're feeling a connected moment, and I think of it as a miraculous moment. You know, we don't use that word very often, but sometimes people can say either nothing is a miracle or everything can be a miracle. So let's cultivate that gratefulness. And this is a quote from Ralph let's see, just want to cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously, from Ralph Waldo Emerson. So it's the same thought of being in the moment and being grateful as often as you can. So look for opportunities to be grateful. A friend of mine sent this to me with this beautiful rainbow. I think of this as definitely a miraculous moment to appreciate and just savor this moment. And you can just take in the full breath of this. Like this is a wow. How often do we get to appreciate this moment? So I listened to a webinar with Maggie Sachs-Skid, The Power and Wonder of Gratitude. She has a master's in clinical psychology from Columbia University. She studied positive and organizational psychology, and she's on the faculty at Western Connecticut State University. And she talked about gratefulness can become a habit. And she has a lot of great ideas that we can train our brain to become more positive. Taking just 2 minutes of writing down 3 new good things each day for 21 days rewires the brain to be more positive and productive. And this is very highly researched. Taking this time, you can think it, but it's really important to write it down. But you'll still get benefit from thinking it. And journaling about one positive experience allows your brain to relive it. Stringing micro moments of positive emotions together. So she mentions about practicing random acts of kindness, opening the door for someone, smiling at someone, being at these wonderful moments, that like random moments of being in the grocery store and just having a conversation with someone. Write one positive email praising or thanking someone. This teaches your brain to scan for the positive. The brain gets retrained, and it retrains a pattern of scanning the world for the positive. So the more often we do this, we're building that resiliency muscle. The brain at positive is 31% more productive than at negative or neutral. And when we're having these moments of positivity, it secretes dopamine, which makes you happier, and it turns on our learning centers. So the benefits of gratitude, they're psychological, social, and physical. She suggests we practice 5 to 10 minutes a day. So the psychological benefits are it neutralizes negativity, it improves our mood, it generates optimism, and this is actually a learned skill. It increases our well-being, and we can be more forgiving, and it increases our resilience. What are some social benefits of gratitude? We can make more friends, we can improve our social connections, we can be more willing to help others. Volunteering to help others can be really a wonderful thing for showing how much we care for others. We can improve our relationships. We can help reach our career goals. And then some physical benefits. Reduces pain and decreases stress. It boosts our immunity. It boosts our energy. We can sleep better and longer. We can create life longevity, and that is a real plus. So there's so many great benefits of gratitude. And here's another quote by William James. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. If you change your mind, you can change your life. And that again brings us back to that mindful moment. We're consciously choosing to be in presence. We're consciously choosing to have that positive thought. And the more that we can bring awareness to this, the more, again, we're building that resilient muscle. So another podcast that I listened to recently is this woman, Dr. Marcy Hull, an MD, a psychiatrist. It was a Healthy at a University of Hospital podcast. And she's talking about the power of kindness. She talked about the science behind kindness and how it can benefit your health. So she talks about the giver. What happens when we are the giver? We get the most benefit. It secretes oxytocin and serotonin, which are neurotransmitters in the brain. But it not only secretes oxytocin, but it also decreases our stress hormone, cortisol, which causes us to develop belly fat. So the receiver, which I find is quite interesting, also gets a boost of the oxytocins and serotonin, but not as much as the giver. And also the witness. So if you're in a situation where you're observing someone being really kind, then you can also receive this secretion of oxytocin and serotonin. I just find this amazing. So we can practice kindness and it builds a habit. So in an article in Psychology Today, it was called What We Get When We Give. In the past 25 years, we're seeing more research in this area. And kindness is free. There's no financial investment. It's a medicine. We can call it a medicine with no side effects. It's contagious. One person starts and it gets picked up. It's widely available, and we can teach our children and colleagues. I recently did a self-care day for staff at Greenwich Hospital, and we gave out gratitude cards to the staff. And this went on for all day and afternoon and into the evening. And there was this pulse or this buzz that was going on in the hospital. People were coming in with appreciation and gratitude because administration had asked me to do this. And I really felt that there was this upward spiral of kindness and gratitude being spread throughout the staff, and it was really amazing to witness. So I was really grateful for that opportunity. So we are born to be kind and unkind. So let's practice kindness to develop this habit. It's less of a personal quality. So what is this kindness? There's many different ways to be kind. We can be helpful or courteous, as we were talking about, like in the grocery store or volunteering our time. We can be generous with ourself. It's a habit of giving of ourself. We can put others first, but not at the expense of ourself. We want to enhance ourself. We want to keep that cup full instead of half full, because we can't give from that empty cup or even a half full cup. We really want to make sure that our cup is full. So kindness generates a response in our brain. As I mentioned, it's the secretion of the neurotransmitters have a change in our mood, and it increases the oxytocin, which is the cuddle or bonding hormone. You can also get that just from hugging. You can hug for 20 seconds and that can secrete oxytocin. We get a feeling of an increase, a sense of trust, connectedness, keeps our groups of people together. It actually lowers blood pressure. It dilates the blood vessels and it keeps the heart receiving more oxygen. So it's cardioprotective, strengthens our immune system, and decreases our aches and pains. So kindness is amazing. And again, longer lifespan. And increases our self-esteem. So this oxytocin is a mediator. The serotonin is secreted. And this serotonin increases feelings of satisfaction and happiness. And it decreases anxiety and depression. So endorphins, you might have heard of these, are like when you're running, when you're feeling that energy going, or riding a bicycle, they call it the runner's high. Well, with kindness, they call it the helper's high. And you get the same rush of the endorphins as running, and it decreases our cortisol, which is the stress hormone, And we know that the stress hormone prepares us for the body, the fight or flight, but we also know that we get in that fight or flight even if we're just thinking about something stressful. So sometimes that cycle just keeps going. And I think through this pandemic, we have gotten into it's been hard to shut that off. So we want to learn how to deactivate that and get into the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. And that has a positive impact on our nervous system. So letting go of that stress hormone has so many different positive effects on our body, mind, and emotions. So when we are stressed, we can have feelings of isolation and hopelessness. And kindness can give relief of this hopelessness. So what is a loving kindness intervention? May I love and accept myself just as I am. So just take that in for a moment. May I love and accept myself just as I am. We have in our culture that something is wrong with us, that we're not whole and complete just the way we are, but we are. We have our perfection just as we are. So we need to disrupt this and allow ourselves to be loving and kind to ourselves. And it takes practice. It's not something that we just learn. We have to keep practicing it. So other benefits of kindness and decreasing cortisol can slow the aging process. We can lose weight more rapidly with decreasing that cortisol, because the cortisol increases the belly fat. So it's good medicine without any side effects. If we're aware of kindness, we'll see other opportunities to practice. So how do we be kind to ourselves? We take every opportunity to extend kindness to ourselves and others. Hold doors for someone, smile and mean it. So here's a lot of tips. Compliment in person or on Zoom. Refrain from arguing on social media. I don't know about you, but as soon as I start seeing any negative comments, I just turn it off, because and even watching the news, it just really affects my nervous system. So just pay attention to, maybe your heart starts beating faster, or you just start feeling yourself feeling anxious. Just start paying attention, and you can choose to not be on social media or watch a lot of news, and maybe just headlines, and not watching or reading a lot of the stories. So practice, and it becomes a habit. Making small choices build muscle, and it becomes reflective. And taking your time with this, taking small steps, baby steps. What are some short-term benefits? If you were asked to spend $20 on yourself or someone else, if you spend it on yourself, you're going to have some increased satisfaction and happiness. But if you spend it on another, you're going to have more satisfaction and happiness. So it's that same thing with that witness, or the giver and the receiver. But when you're actually doing it, you're getting the most benefit. So what do you focus on? If you focus on the negative, you're going to see more of that. So the energy is going there, where we focus. So let's acknowledge that what we're focusing on, the negative, and extend kindness. So they did a Kaiser Foundation poll, and what they found is that 53% of Americans said that during COVID, it's taking a toll on their mental health. That's a large percent of our Americans. So kindness can help us to set off this. So when we have too much cortisol, as I've stated, this is not helpful. So what we're trying to do again is allowing that stress response to be deactivated, and finding ways of activating the positive rest and digest. And so I don't know about you in terms of what you practice, but exercise we know is very good. Um, Taking walks to an area that you find that's calming for your nervous system, um, savoring those moments, being with your friends and family. Really, we have to take conscious effort to do this now. Again, this wears down our immune system, holds the belly fat. Kindness reduces the stress hormone. It's simple, it's free, there's easy strategies. It increases the positive neurotransmitters. It interrupts the anxiety with gratitude. We can catch ourselves. So I know this is asking a lot, but with practice, it really becomes more of a simple task. Say, I have control of the neurotransmitters that's in my brain, that's bathing my brain. It's important to be intentional where we put our energy, and instead say, what is good in my life? So just taking a moment to pause, what is good in my life? And just reflect on that for a moment. Just notice how you feel when you just think of that and bring it into your heart center. It might be a person, it might be a pet, it might be what you did today that brought some joy in your life. Just breathe that in and receive those blessings. The body feels different where we put the focus of our attention. And when we do that, we can actually sense that biochemical change. We just have to start tuning into it. We build that habit and the kindness muscle. So when we're feeling stressed, what can we do? We can step away. There's an acronym for that's called STOP. I'm not sure I have it in this PowerPoint, but I just want to mention what it means. We stop. We take a breath. We pause. That's the stop. We stop. We take a moment to say, I'm feeling a little stressed. I'm feeling a little anxious. I'm feeling my muscles getting tight. We take that breath and we observe. We observe our body. We observe what's happening. We pause. And then we proceed. We say, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to let my body rest here. I'm going to acknowledge what I feel, and I'm going to move forward. We just counted our blessings and we labeled it. And something else that you can do is, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Tune into your senses, because what it does is it brings us into embodiment. We get to practice what we feel, and we have really gotten away from the body. We're very good from the head up. We kind of have gotten that practice really good. We're practicing from our mind. But if we come, as I mentioned in the beginning, from the wisdom of our body, coming into our senses, we can practice that, and we can feel that there's something very valuable here. So I've mentioned it before about what are the things that bring you joy. Do I feel safe here? Do I feel grounded? Do I like the trees, the clouds, the fresh air? You know, we really, it's this little things in life that really have the most impact and the power. We can feel that immediate change with the secretion of the neurotransmitters in our brain. Just really have to pause and allow it to happen. So, what are some acts of receiving kindness and the benefits? We get that boost, not as much as the giver. We selfishly better to be the giver. The receiver feels being seen. feeling valued, feeling appreciated, feeling acknowledged. And it helps with their self-esteem. And again, we're just reviewing that it increases that oxytocin of being connected with others. So feeling kind has benefits and it's contagious. As I mentioned with that self-care day, there was kindness going on, there was gratitude. So if someone pays for our meal and we turn around and pay for another meal, that is an example of it being contagious. So there's actually studies showing how this gets reciprocated. Someone out of the blue says, I'm going to pay for your meal, and they turn around and they pay for someone else's. And this can go on for about 45 minutes to an hour until someone breaks the cycle. So the witness hearing about these stories, they notice a feeling of warmth, connectedness, and urge to be wants to be a part of this. So when we are starting to witness this, and I mentioned this to have like an openness to having this actually be a possibility in your life, I really feel that we're moving towards this as a humanity. That the pandemic is teaching me, I can speak for me, it's teaching me, and I'm seeing this a little bit more in my life, that people are trying harder. They're trying harder to have this connection with one another. And I think that we can have a goal to strive to have heaven on earth. So the witness again gets the boost, which is increasing the neurotransmitters. So what's the view of kindness? It can be overlooked. We see it everywhere. We see it on cups and pillows. We kind of get numb to it. We see life that, it's all rainbows and sunshine. But people who practice kindness have gone through some dark times because they know that life can be hard and life can be stressful and that there's a lot of uncertainty. And haven't we all been through this? That we haven't known what's going to happen next. We've had to get comfortable with the unknown and the uncertainty, and that hasn't been easy for us as a humanity. So we realize that the only way is to be kind and to protect our community. It's an opportunity to teach our children and our colleagues, and I really think that this is something that we can share with our children, and that we can be a role model. And I have been practicing, I have 2 sons, and I notice that when I pause and I try to not react to a stressful situation or maybe get defensive, that I'm being in the moment more and that I'm responding. And that really is what mindfulness is about, is that we respond to the situation versus react, because that creates that stress response. So let's see if we can do that together. So being mean and critical is also part of our being human. That can make us get fired up. It can boost our energy. It's easy to get fired up when we're angry. So there's the ratio, because we're hardwired to being negative. It's actually about 17 bad to good, which doesn't sound really good, but I think that we can break this cycle. So the news, upsetting stories that we hear, it's all around us. So how can we break this cycle? We need to switch the narrative. So there's a reason why we get mad if we're like in traffic, we're worried we might be late for a meeting or going home to our friend or partner or spouse. So we're missing that valuable time with them. So we want to be self-kind and self-compassionate. We want to validate our experience and know that everything is going to be okay. And when we do this the goodness with ourselves, we can do this with someone else. So we want to slow down that rage. We want to change the moment. Look at the blue sky. This calms the brain and decreases this cortisol. We want to don't engage in that rage, which gives us that negative boost. Instead, we want to bring calmness over us, that rest and digest part of our nervous system. So how do we cultivate resilience with gratitude and kindness? So we're going to review. We're going to have a general appreciation of life. We're going to be aware of the good. We're going to have a recognition that we receive something beyond what we deserve. And, you know, I actually do this when I'm in the car. Every time, even if it's just a simple avoidance of an accident, I immediately say thank you, because I just think what could have happened. Like if my mind is wandering and then all of a sudden someone's stopping in front of me and then I have to stop quickly, I stop and then I say thank you, because it's like a good response and it just decreases that stress that happens in my nervous system. When we recognize that we have benefited from another's actions. An expression of thanks and appreciation. So somebody buys you a cup of coffee, or you're with your friend and they have a nice laugh, or you're having a great conversation, or you're counting your blessings and not taking things for granted. Upon awakening, wonder if we thanked God or the universe for another day. And Oprah Winfrey gave me that suggestion. She actually said that every morning, as soon as she wakes up, she thanks God for being alive, for the gift of the breath, for the precious breath that we have waking up. So I do that every morning. It's just become a reflexive response now. I'm grateful to be alive. And I think the pandemic has even taught me that. So what are 3 things that you are looking forward to? Just take a moment. Receive that. Through all of these words that I've been saying, what are 3 things that you are looking forward to in the next day, or even the next moment after this talk? Might even be you're going to have a good meal, or spend time with a friend or a loved one. So this is the stop, but it's a different one. This is creating stop gaps in your day. That creates a trigger. So even putting a response on your phone, like a alarm to like cultivate mindfulness, or take a pause to take a deep breath, or a pause to be grateful. You know, take a moment, or what can I do for a random act of kindness? You know, maybe a couple times a day you could do that. So I find that I really need to do this with what is being asked of me, especially this week. I've had several different challenges and PowerPoint presentations and poster presentations and deadlines, and I've really needed to take pause in my day to take a meditation or go for a walk and appreciate what's outside. And the amazing thing is that I feel the result right away. And then I feel refreshed and I'm restored. So again, upon awakening, sending those good intentions, you could send it to someone in your life. I actually have been sending intentions and compassion to our brothers and sisters in Ukraine and Russia. I've done several meditations to allow the power of the universe to send these vibrations out to the people that are suffering right now. So to let them know that they're not alone, and that we're helping them, and to have gratitude for the people are taking in the refugees and other countries, that we are so grateful that is happening. So we can get into the car and have a moment of gratitude before we turn the radio on. Sometimes on my way to work, I'll choose not to put the radio on, and I'll just watch and see the colors of spring. This morning, the colors were amazing. It's so vibrant. And, this spring is such a beautiful renewal time of year. It's like a rebirth. So tune in. Say grace at dinner if that resonates with you, even a moment of gratitude or a moment of silence. So the power and wonder of gratitude. What is the best thing that happened to you today? I think that having that as a grace at dinner, or have that be part of your conversation. What is one thing that is good that happened to you today? It could be simple as, that it wasn't a rainy day today, or you were able to not be as stressed as you were the day before, or you had a nice walk with a friend, or you got a handwritten letter in the mail, or a thank you note, or, it's endless. There's so many things that we can be grateful for. And that is something I mentioned earlier, that this is the most researched, is the writing down those 3 good things that you're thankful for. And it's really good to be specific. Like, I'm grateful for my friend Bonnie, who sent me a thank you card or a bouquet of flowers for my birthday. Just that can help with that rewiring. And again, underscoring the savoring of the feelings, even for 10 or 15 seconds. What is good? How can I savor that moment? And then I mentioned in the beginning that 21 days to form a new habit. So let's take a moment to pause here, to take time to just appreciate the beauty of the water. I'm partial to water. This is a beach in my town here. I love to just walk and receive the benefits of the sky and the water, and breathing in the calmness and the appreciation that I feel that I'm able to be in this moment in time. So metta is well researched. There's a loving kindness meditation. You can actually look it up. It promotes gratitude and positive emotion. And I just want to wish this loving kindness words to you, and you can say it to yourself. You can say, may I be happy, but I'm going to say, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you live life with ease. And even these simple words, if you just feel what it does to you on the inside, even if it's just for a few moments, that activation of those neurotransmitters, feeling of being warmth, feeling of being cared for, feeling of being appreciated. So I hope that there's been a few tips for you to cultivate resilience, to practice these ideas of kindness and gratitude. I really am making it my mantra, because there's so much research on it now, and people that I'm tuning into are talking about it, and I'm just really grateful to be listening to their words. So what if today we were just grateful for everything? What if we were just practicing that for today? So I want to take a moment, if anybody would like to put in the chat. We have a few minutes. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you want to share any thoughts that sparked any experience that you could relate to. Happy to share that with everyone. So the chat feature is below if anybody wants to put something in. I'm grateful that you took the time out of your busy life to receive these words. Anybody have any thoughts? Questions? Okay, let's see. Let me just get my... you're welcome, Ruth. I hope that it can become a practice and that we can be kind with ourselves. And I really think that the self-kindness and the self-compassion and the self-appreciation, having that first is really the practice. Because when we do it for ourselves, we're going to be more apt to do it for others. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I'm going to say thank you again, and I'll let you go to whatever you're going to do for the rest of your evening, and have a beautiful evening. Thank you for joining.